Hello, hello. Thank you all for joining us. Hope everybody is doing well. We want to talk today about starting your own HR consulting business. My name is Alicia Williams with Humanity in HR. We have been in business, oh my goodness, now I think it's been about 7 years now. A full-time self-employment. That is a feat within itself. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how to do that if that's something you're interested in. And of course, just to be really upfront and honest about some of the things that I've experienced during my time. I have with me Sierra Morgan. And I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sierra. Like Alicia said, we're talking about HR today, and I have 17 years within the HR world, and we know it is definitely interchangeable. But for those of you that are ready to take that leap and take that next step into getting your own business, your own consulting business started, this is the conversation for you. And I'll be sharing some of the tools that help me get started. While working with Alicia and helping me to put things together, and hopefully you can take something, get some takeaways from it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like to start with the first thing,
hmm
which is why people have a hard time getting started.
I think they're afraid to take the leap, and
Yeah.
that's where the faith versus fear type of
hmm
conversation really starts. And you already got the skills. You've been doing it so many years, and it's like, why not just go ahead and bet on yourself?
hmm
A lot of people, they start the businesses while they're still working, but they
Yeah.
do them sort of after hours. So, while you're building, and then eventually you'll get to that point where you're like in that mode of confidence and you're like, I can do this on my own. Bye, 9 to 5.
You would have said by 9 to 5. I mean, I think that's so critical with the landscape, hiring landscape changing right now, and a lot of people being terminated from higher paying positions in HR roles, being able to say bye to the 9 to 5 before the 9 to 5 says we no longer need your services, and just having that power stance, if that makes sense, making that decision before it gets made for you. So regarding starting your own HR consulting business, I think fear, like you said, is the number one thing. But there are ways we can mitigate fear. If we were finding ways to mitigate fear, what would we do? We would save up money. We would find ways to lessen some of the possible burden or things that we are fearful about. We would save up money, possibly, if we have it to save. We would leverage our network to make sure we have additional clients.
Right.
There are things you can do to kind of help with that fear. I think the fear is natural. You'd be a fool if you didn't have that fear, which is natural about losing or kind of stepping out on your own, hoping and praying that you're making that same financial gain as you are with your own business. And when people say, you know what, I'm afraid to get started on my own, I'm saying to myself, aren't you afraid to go to that 9 to 5 when you only got one paycheck? And if that one paycheck changes, now your whole life changes. That should be where the real fear sets in. You know what I mean?
Well, just not even that, just knowing that is the 9 to 5 still going to be there. At least with
Mhm.
your own business, you have a little bit more control on how things are going. I mean, I myself was laid off earlier this year, due to financial reasons within the organization. We're in a time where there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
And, if this is something that you want to do, then, like Alicia said, start making that sacrifice now. Maybe not spend a lot on all those, discretionary, well, doing a lot of discretionary spending.
Mhm.
A little bit goes a long way in the end. And really, the cost, and I don't know if you want to get right into it, but the cost is very minimal
Very
to
minimal.
really start your HR consultant business. So I think a lot of people, when they hear starting their business, they think that it's so much cost attached to it, and it's
Right.
really not. So, but I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll let you kind of go ahead and segue to that.
But I mean, to be honest, there is a cost, right? There's a sacrifice. You're going to pay in time or you're going to pay in money. You get to pick which one. And one reason I asked Sierra to join us is because she has a way to help you leverage your time. Again, you're going to pay in time or you're going to pay in money. If you're someone that says, you know what, I don't really have enough time. I'm not sure if I have enough time to do this. Well, why don't you hire a virtual assistant? I know we've had virtual assistants for at least 3 years. Sierra, you can talk more
Mhm.
about how that helps to kind of keep people with that work-life balance and not being so overwhelmed while still being able to take care of so many tasks.
Yeah, and so if you're just starting out and you just want to work on this, let's say in the afternoon, right, while you're still working your 9 to 5, the goal of a virtual assistant essentially is to give you more time back in your day, do all those things that
Yeah.
you might not have time to do because obviously you're still pouring into your 9 to 5, right? So if you want to do this, obviously you have to do some lead generation, you have to have some email management, calendar management, invoicing. All of those things, we call them
Mhm.
administrative tasks, can be done by your virtual assistant. And I hire virtual assistants from overseas, particularly the Philippines, and they work on our time zone, and they handle all of those things for you. So while you're working your 9 to 5, they are busy working and trying to get you those clients to put in front of you that when you're finished with your 9 to 5, you can meet with them and be able to help them and start and letting your business flourish while you are, trying to grow the strategy of the business.
Absolutely. So Sierra's company, Rose HR, just helped us find a virtual assistant. She has been phenomenal, phenomenal thus far. She has the expertise that's needed. Sierra and her crew were able to find someone through, their sea of folks that really fit what I needed. Besides the expertise, she's a great communicator. And she's someone that kind of runs circles around me just a little bit, which is actually, no, seriously, that's what I look for. I was telling my dad the other day, like, I am looking for people who can run circles around me. And that's a lot. That's saying something, right?
Yeah.
Because I want someone that's going to remember when I forget, who's going to dot I's when I miss it, cross T's when I don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when I've been able to get with Rose HR and Sierra's help.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, so Rose HR, we usually will staff you with a virtual assistant within a week to 2 weeks. It really just depends on your particular availability to interview. So what we do is we do a consultation where we understand what your needs are, your business workflow, your business style, and your systems that you use or are going to use. And if you don't have systems yet, that's fine. We can talk about that too and make sure that we find someone that can help you build things from the ground up. And so once we do that, then we work hard to try to find someone that can match all of those things that you need, basically your wish list. And
Mhm.
once we do that, we put about 3 to 5 people in front of you to interview. And you go through those interviews, see who you match well with, who has that good vibe, and whose skills, really truly match with what you want. And once you do that, then we help you out with the onboarding, but they are ready to start as soon as tomorrow if you want to. And the cost, again, going back to the cost, is very minimal.
Very
Virtual
minimal.
assistants are only $4 to $5 an hour. So again, and keeping, aligned with you wanting to start your own business while working your 9 to 5, again, you can rest assured for a few hours of the day, they are doing all of that nitty gritty work, as we want to call it,
Mhm.
because you can't grow a business functionally or effectively by yourself. You have to have a team. And
Yeah.
that's the best way is to hire someone, $4 to $5 an hour. I know you're like $4 to $5. Yes, $4 to $5. That converts to a lot of dollars in the Philippines. Okay. And so doing that, it's a good investment. It's a safe investment.
Yeah.
And it's something that really, is going to help you because we are not perfect. We don't know the Canva. We don't know all of these different systems and tools. And like Alicia said, her person is kind of running circles sometimes, around her, but in a good way because they're helping to fill the gaps that are needed. And they're like a business partner and trying to help you grow your business.
And like Sierra said, even if you do have the expertise, really, do you have the time?
Exactly.
Again, you're going to pay in time or you're going to pay in money. You have to pick which one is the easiest fit for you. And in terms of expertise, there are times when a virtual assistant may cost $1 or so more per hour, but again, it depends on the task they're doing and the expertise they have. It's definitely way cheaper than what you would get here. And then keep in mind, this is what they're doing all day, every day. So their focus is you and your business. So for my company, operationally, let me just tell you a little bit how it's been able to help us grow. So and keep in mind, I didn't mention this earlier, but I have several companies, and all of them have to do with helping people, human services. So I have another company that's a mental health organization in Maryland where we have about 20 staff, and then I have an assisted living facility as well. So with that being the case, that's a lot for one owner to deal with and to handle. And I could not do it. I'm not an octopus. I cannot do it on
Yeah.
my own. You have to have people. You have to put aces in their places, right? And my team, luckily, with the help of Sierra, she's given me another ace to put in their place, and really been able to help run my organization in terms of social media management, in terms of our teaching platform, which is called Kajabi. The shameless plug. We actually have a
Yeah.
a course called um, build your way, HR. Basically, you're trying to make sure that in that platform we have a way that we teach you how to build your own HR consulting firm and build it in a way that best represents who you are as a professional. So if you're interested in that, then click on the link. The information will be there. But besides that, you want to make sure that you have an idea somewhat. You got to be able to give them something to go on, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what you need them to do. The easiest things to have them to do that take the most time from you are website creation, marketing and outreach, brochures, pamphlets, those things that don't really take your expertise as an HR professional. Your expertise needs to be forward facing where you're in front of the camera, in front of your potential clients. They can't necessarily do that for you. And even if they can, they don't do it as well as you would. So I would definitely say let your hours be well spent. where you're best suited, and that's representing your company, you know?
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that. You mentioned about being front facing because that's what we have to do because obviously we're here, in the US handling that. But when you go to networking events or you meet people, you're exchanging your cards, you're getting cards from people. And I've talked to so many business owners and they say after those events, they go home at night and they're trying to put all that system, key all that data into a CRM and add people to a mailing list and things like that. Again, that is something that your virtual assistant can do for you.
Mhm.
All of these day-to-day tasks that let somebody else do it. And I know that it is very hard for us as a people sometimes to let go of that control,
Yeah.
but just think about how much more you're going to be gaining as a result of making this investment. And again, it's a small investment with such a multitude of positive moments, right? So, definitely something to think about. And, we could definitely discuss further based on your particular situation. But overall, it's definitely the way to go. It has been saving us all
Yeah.
a lot of time
Yeah.
because I also wear a lot of hats, just like Alicia. And let me tell you, I don't think I could do it. I have about four on my own just to make the world run for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, definitely. And most of us, adults, we couldn't wait to get here. Now we're here and we got our hands full. So, it's just important to hire out when it makes sense. And a situation like this where you're trying to build your own business, especially if you have a full-time job and or you just don't have the expertise, hire out. The cost is much less. And again, you're going to pay in time or money. If you're someone like me, I like to get paid quickly. That helps me with self-belief. That helps me believing that my business is thriving and doing well and that what I have, somebody wants to buy. So one way to do that is to hurry up and get to the money. That's what I call it. That's just plain and simple. Ways that you hurry up and get to the money, because that's part of the fear here where people don't want to start their own thing. One way you hurry up and get to the money is by making sure people can pay you right? Quickly. You don't want them to have to figure out, well, wait a minute. It was nice talking to Alicia. However, where's the link to pay her? You know what I mean? Another thing you want to do is making it clear what you offer. You don't want to be Walmart and offer 100 things. It's going to be confusing to people. Offer two, maybe three items that you want to offer. That is it. Make it short, sweet, simple. And then we were giving consultations. Keep in mind, if you're not talking to people, you're not in business. It's no way. You have to have calls every week. I would say at least 30 calls a week to make sure that your business is thriving. Now, when I say calls, you're not selling, you're sharing, right? The calls are no more than 15 minutes. When I do consultations like this through video, no more than 15 minutes. I'm giving a sizzle, I'm not giving a steak. If someone wants a steak, they have to pay for it. That means a signed contract, you know? And it's really clear. You just have to be very concise with what you offer, you know? And to Sierra's point, really, many hands make light work. So part of hiring a virtual
Mhm.
assistant is to get rid of some of your barriers. You know what I mean? So for instance, I know in the past I've been the bottleneck to some of my businesses because I have a lot of them and I have other responsibilities just like everybody else. So what I did once I realized I'm the bottleneck, okay, how can I take me out of it? For one of my companies, I was a bottleneck when it was time to do the payroll. Meanwhile, if you don't pay, nobody's going to stay. Okay.
I know that's
So
right.
I found a way, like, you know what? My bookkeeper, she's phenomenal at attention to detail, especially when it comes to money. Let me have her do this. That took me out of the loop. Of course, I still have to sign the checks or, approve the payroll and make sure it's timely. But for the most part, again, she's one of those people that,
Mhm.
thank God, run circles around me. And that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to the point about having a virtual assistant. They become part of your team, just another additional part of your team. I have three virtual assistants. So I kind of
Yeah.
teeter back and forth between two and three, depending on what I need. My virtual assistants in the Philippines, I don't do anything where they deal with money. Or like patient information, since one of my businesses is funded by the government. And that's patient information, but I would never do that. But things like social media, things that are tedious
Yeah,
and repetitive.
and I just wanted to highlight because some people ask me when I do consultations, well, do they speak in English? Okay, yes. I because I make sure that they are, speak effectively and know how to speak and how to communicate because I have some clients that want them to be able to make phone calls. When a client picks a virtual assistant to work with long term, we do have an NDA that is signed by yourself, the client, as well as the virtual assistant. And we do collect their IDs as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then some people are like, well, how do you pay them? We pay them bi-weekly. You can use PayPal or Wise. Wise is essentially more utilized in the Philippines, and it's exactly like PayPal. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know that there are, people, I get those questions all the time. So, but again, I mean, it's a small investment with such a big, like it works. I mean, and I really started off with a virtual assistant really as my personal assistant, telling the truth. And, once I developed, I saw that they had like good rapport, they were good communicators, they were fast at what they did, they understood the assignment, right? I was like, maybe I need to get another one. And then that's how Rose HR was really born because people were asking me, well, how did you get that done? And it was like, well, I want a virtual assistant like what you have. And that's essentially how Rosa HR came to be. But I've had numerous clients. They're like, I wish I had a virtual assistant a long time ago. I mean, they're like, I've spent so many hours doing all of these things that I could have had somebody else doing. And, another shameless plug, I'm also a podcast host, right? And I have a videographer that edits my podcast. You mentioned social media.
Yeah.
Social media is one of the biggest marketing tools out there as well. Just like if you want to do videos on TikTok and just drop gems about HR, essentially you could record one video, take a whole hour to record that video and have your virtual assistant chop it up. And that could be 20 videos right there that you can just share that they can go ahead and schedule out that content, just to put that into perspective. And you mentioned marketing with the website development and the creation of so many different things. So it's the possibilities are endless, truly.
Yeah, yeah. And think about it. Whatever idea I have, I definitely bring to my virtual assistants. We meet every Tuesday at 9 a.m. And between the times that we speak, I'm thinking of ideas. Oh, what else can I do? Oh, what do I need to push my businesses forward? What's going to help me? What's going to be the easiest thing that I can have them do that'll give the best results? You know what I mean? So we do a lot of live events from time to time. Again, social media is a way to get your business out there and let people know who you are, especially when they can hear you speak, see your face. And editing videos, I cannot imagine. I tried it like once or twice. I'm like, okay, this is too much.
It's a tedious task.
It's tedious and it's repetitive. I don't have the patience. I don't have the bandwidth. But I do have the money to pay somebody. So that's what I do. So I just encourage you to, one, the whole point that we're bringing all this up is let's get rid of some of these barriers, right? Because either you want to have excuses or you're going to have money. Which one would you rather have? So if you want to get in a situation where you can be fully self-employed, which I have been now, oh my gosh, like 7 years, you have to really kind of put the pedal to the metal, and I'm just a real candid person, so I'm going to tell you like it is. It's really starting a business. It's really akin to a plane taking off on the runway. The pilot can't go 10 miles per hour and get 200 people in the air. The pilot has to go hundreds of miles per hour to be able to lift off and soar into the air before the pilot can get to at least cruising altitude of 34,000 feet. And it takes some time to get there. In the meantime, everybody's seatbelts are on, which means you're finding ways to protect your business and make sure that it's legal and legit and people have ways to pay you. But in the beginning, before you even get to the point of cruising altitude, you're on the runway putting in all your power, all your energy. You're calling all your friends and family. You're connecting with people in the community to let them know that you're in business. If you're not talking, you're not in business. That's the reality of things. Social media works, but it only works if you work it. You have to be present to be a presence. You know what I mean? So it's just important really that you get out there. And what better way to kind of help and assist you with that but the virtual assistants? Yes, you have to be forward facing. You have to record the material. However, the editing, again, because I was the one that started editing when I first started posting online a few years ago. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm overthinking this. Let me just hand this off to somebody else because I don't have time to deal with it. I don't have the capacity and I'm going to slow myself down. Right. So if you are the bottleneck in your business, that's one way to get through that. And starting your own business, if you're working full time, you might not have the time to do those tedious tasks, even if you're great at them. Let somebody else do them. You know what I mean? So again, overall, I just wanted to kind of address some of the barriers that people have to starting their own business, which number one is time, not having the time. Which we handled that with virtual assistants, not having the money. Part of that is hiring a virtual assistant that is cost effective, but also you're going to save time with that. And then having your own HR consulting business. I believe when I first started, like 7 years ago, I might have paid $300 a month total. And even now, it's not even that much. I mean, now it might be more like $500 or even $800, depending on what I have going on that month. If I have more initiatives, then it's going to cost more. But because I have other businesses now, I'm able to split the costs amongst the different businesses. So it really ends up being nominal compared to the work that they do. And again, they do work that would take me weeks to do if I could even do it at all. And then I'd be frustrated pulling my hair out.
Yeah,
So
and I hear people also say, I don't have the time to work with a virtual assistant. I don't have the time to train them, or I just don't have the time. But that's why you need a virtual assistant,
hmm
because you don't have the time.
right.
And one thing I also ask other business owners is, if you look back at your schedule from last week and all the things that you had to do, how many of those things were true admin tasks that could have been handled by someone else? Things that you really didn't
Mhm.
have to do that someone else could have done for you. And I
Yeah.
can guarantee you it was probably more than several hours of administrative tasks that you did to get your business started or have
hmm
it to continue to grow.
Yeah.
So I would say, if that was you, definitely drop us a thumbs up in the comments below, because we need to be chatting about what do you have, whether it's, you want to get more in-depth coaching into how to start your HR consulting business, or if you want to talk to me about trying to get some leverage and get some assistance, because
hmm
we all can't afford, when you're starting out, to pay a full-time employee
No.
$20 plus an hour. We just don't have the bandwidth. And being an HR, having an HR consulting business, you're typically doing that remote, so it's not like you have a brick and mortar. So
hmm
all of these things you don't have to worry about. That's why we're talking about the cost to start an HR
hmm
consulting business is just so minimal.
Yeah.
It really is good, and you already have the expertise.
hmm
That's really all that's needed, that
hmm
expertise, and then using the networking skills that you already have to build upon it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sierra, how can I get in touch with you?
Definitely. So you can email me at info@rosehr.org, or you can go to my website, rosehr.org. And we had the book a consultation link right on the webpage. And hey, my schedule is open, and I can't wait to hear from you all soon.
If you all want to get in contact with me, you can simply message me or wherever this is posted. And then, or go to my website, humanityandhr.com. There should be some scheduling links there, whether you want to join the course, which I believe is on sale now, or whether you want to schedule a consultation with me just to talk about your situation. Because, some people, they're like, I don't want to take a course, or, I've already started. I don't know if the course is for me. And you just have questions regarding like how to price. That's one of the biggest questions I get. Well, how do I price my services? I can assist with that. My business does very well, has been doing well, and it actually funded my clinic. So I just say all that to say, not to brag, but or to boast, but to impress upon you that it is possible. It is possible. It is something you can do. But again, you have to treat it like you treat those other jobs where you went to the places with the people you didn't like, but you showed up every day anyway.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask, because no question is a crazy question. I know that's a cliche statement, but we have heard it all before. Like
Mhm.
like Alicia said, we have been doing HR for many,
Long
many
time.
years. And again, when you walk into the office, no day is the same. So we
Mhm.
understand that, and we can relate. And it's good to be able to talk to people that can actually relate to what you're experiencing or how you're feeling. So whatever questions you have, or reservations you have about those things, just set up some time to chat with us, and we can work it out together.
Awesome. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you all either at the beach or the bank. Have a great day.